Sorry, I just sort of blanked out there for a second because I was like, we didn't start recording this, and we like to record it so that we can put it out there. So we all just missed a bit of a hello from Shawn, but
Yep.
that's okay. Shawn, I wanted you to tell everybody just a little bit about yourself for those who haven't been to one of our webinars before, and how you got roped into working up with all of us at Wild
How
Apple.
did I get roped into this? Um, I'll keep this relatively short. Basically, John and Lori Chester, who started Wild Apple back in 1990, so we're past 35 years at this point. Um, I got introduced to John through a fellow ski coach. For those of you who know me, I am a passionate skier and was a competitor and a coach for a long time. And I got introduced to John, and at first he was trying to explain to me what art licensing is. And I think my initial response to him was, "It sounds like a pyramid scheme. What are you actually selling?" I soon learned it's not a pyramid scheme, and got really got grew to like John and Lori, and we decided to make a go at this. And the biggest responsibility I had coming on was to help modernize the company, get away from paper and manual processes, and how do we modernize and get up things into the cloud and digitized. And John and Lori were eventually hoping to retire. They got to that point, and then they kind of pulled a quick one on me one day and said, "Actually, we want to sell the business." So I said, "Well, why don't I just buy it?" And now, long story short, here I am owning an art licensing company that way back in the original, when I first heard about it, I thought it was a pyramid scheme. It is the most fun I've ever had in my life. I will not bore you with other things that I've done in the ski industry, startup software, and other things like that. But
Mhm.
I am so happy to be here and then with the team that we work with and the artists that we get to talk with every day and the partners in the home decor industry that we get to work with. It's just, I bounce out of bed every morning to get to do this.
Oh, that's amazing. I love to hear that, Shawn. Unlike you, I've been working in this industry for 23 years. And every time I say that, I think, oh my God, that's a lot of time. And I'm sort of aging myself, but that's okay. And I've been with Wild Apple for 12 or 13 years now. And
But
so
you started in the industry when you were like six, right? So
totally
you're 29.
100%, 100%.
Yeah. By the way, everyone, Anita's birthday was yesterday. She turned 29 yet again.
No,
So
that's right. Yet
yeah,
again.
yeah.
And so my job at Wild Apple, in addition to, trending and looking at trends and sort of, doing all that kind of stuff, is I would make beautiful things. And I make our lookbooks along with Belinda, who is also on this call today. I do our content creation, our media relations, our social media, and more. And I love my job too, Shawn. I also love getting up in the morning. I just think it's like the best job in the world, the best industry in the world. So before we get started on this little trend webinar today, I just wanted to just do some really quick housekeeping as we always do. We ask you to leave your mics and your camera off. Belinda and Gretchen are monitoring the chat. And if you have any questions, you can just pop a question to the chat and they will answer. If you have any technical issues, we also have a technical person on there. If you have any things you can't hear or anything at all, they'll do their best to try to help you. And so I just wanted to say this is going to hand this over to you, Shawn, about who Wild Apple is and what it is that we do.
Well, many of you, because you got an email from us already, obviously, and then signed up for this trend webinar, probably know who Wild Apple is. But for those of you who don't, Wild Apple is one of the leading art licensors in the home decor industry. Okay. And what does that really boil down to? It means two things. Okay. We're an agent for artists that are looking for commercial opportunities for their artwork in the home decor industry. Secondly, we're a spot that home decor manufacturers come to that need on-trend art, pattern, and design. So we're kind of that agent in the middle trying to connect all these folks. So we work with like 90 artists and at this point over 300 manufacturing partners worldwide. So we are that hub, that point, that connection between them. There's two main industries that are or channels that we work in. I'll keep this brief. Wall decor, basically anything that hangs on the wall. It could be canvas, paper under glass, wall murals, you name it. The second one is home decor products. Think about your textiles, your stationery, your ceramic, your floor coverings. Think about greeting cards, that welcome mat in front of someone's front door, that kitchen towel with a great design on it. Okay. on down those lines. So we do, in the wall decor and in the home decor markets. And yeah, we're that agent, so to speak, in the middle that gets everyone connected and gets people what they need.
And I think what's really interesting about our model, particularly, is that we sort of run the gamut of design, sort of looks as well. So it's not just sort of very illustrative looks that you might see in particular types of decor or in magazines or in books. And it's not all fine art for wall decor. We really run the gamut, like from fine art that you would see on wall and landscapes and painterly painters and photographers to incredible illustrators that are doing more sort of holiday collections or more icon collections for dinnerware or patterns, that kind of thing. And that makes us a little bit different, in the industry because we sort of run that whole entire model.
Absolutely.
So I'm just going to give us a little bit more about us. So as Shawn said, so it's since 1990, so over 30 years. And again, um, our trends, we're timeless. We're art for every style and every market. So again, we don't just do one thing or another. We work with manufacturers and retailers and designers. Our catalog has over 75,000 images. I think actually, Shawn, you said the other day was like we were hitting actually closer to like 90,000 plus when you and I talked yesterday.
Yeah, if you dig through there, yeah, there's,
Yeah.
I think total now we're up to 850,000 files in our library. Some of those are
Wow.
duplicates because, one piece
Yeah.
of art's going to have a JPEG, a high-res JPEG, and a PSD to suit whatever needs our partners need, have for file requirements. But
Okay.
that is one of our biggest pieces of infrastructure on the back end is how do we store that? And
Yeah.
anyways,
And one of the things I think I'm so proud about in the work that we do is how we deliver digital files. So, back in the day when I started, everything in art publishing was paper, right? And if you were even when licensing started, it was 25 years ago, really digging into that. File delivery was a lot more difficult because there wasn't this ease of, digital asset management and things like that. So, but I think we can really pride ourselves on delivering really high quality files very quickly to our partners, which is something we take really seriously. And, I think we're more than a source for art. We're also a partner in creativity. We help brands build collections. We inspire our customers to stand out. So we hope that when our customers work with us, they're not just looking for us as like a website with a ton of art inside. They're looking at us as a partner with people that are also helping support and grow their business with them.
yeah, to that point, Anita, there are, sites out there where it is just art and it's kind of, self-service, help yourself, and get some files and off you run. We have a full design team for our partners that
Mhm.
need that design work, all the way from picking art that hits the right trends to designing sales presentations and mock-ups to even doing print files, okay, that are
Yeah,
ready to go to the factory. So we are much more than just a site to pick art, that's for sure.
exactly. So I know we touched on AI the last time we did this meeting, but it's come up so much more often in conversation. So we just wanted to touch on it again, Shawn. And I know you're a real champion for this, so
Yeah.
I'll let you talk about it.
Well, I can't be more clear. At Wild Apple, we are here to represent the human spirit of creativity, the human artist, the handmade art. When an artist is creating a piece of artwork, the mood, their feelings, the lighting, the subject, the day of the week, what just happened yesterday, what they're looking forward to happening to tomorrow, all get put into that piece of artwork. And that's the humanity to it. And regardless of how good AI gets, it will never be able to capture that humanity that then the consumer or the person who appreciates the artwork can see that connection and they have that's a piece I love, And yeah, there's AI artwork out there. We're not going there. Okay. So now I will step back. I love AI, but not for creativity. We use
Exactly.
it as a tool for productivity. Okay, I'll talk about it a little bit later, but one of our big things and what I was brought into was to make things more streamlined and efficient and automated. AI is great for that stuff. Okay, we do use it a little bit in the artwork. We know which of our artists have cats because we need to clone out cat
No
hair.
shame. No
No shame.
shame.
I have a cat, but or dogs. We know they're pets because we have to clone that hair out pretty regularly, and we use the AI tool to do that. So, but the beginning and using AI and being engineer prompts, that is not our business for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to just touch, you and I talked about this, we talked about this the last couple of days. And, as I put these trend reports together, I just want to touch on AI for just one really quick second. And I think trending has become a little bit more challenging because some of the resources that we would all use to sort of start trending, or I know a lot of artists, a lot of people in the industry will look at Pinterest as a way to like sort of, sort of looking at trends and pulling stuff in. What is becoming increasingly difficult on some of these trend aggregators or even blogs that people talking about trends is the invasion of AI art into trending. So people making AI that makes it look like it comes from Gucci or from a major designer, when it has actually nothing to do with that brand. It's just completely made up. It's not real at all. And so having to sort of sift through when we're trending now, my advice to everyone who loves to look at trends like I do is to really stick to really reliable sources. So straight to the designers, straight to the top retailers, straight to the luxury brands, straight to like key industry people that we know that are doing trend reports. Go to the shows, like actually be on the ground looking at things. We can't just rely anymore because AI is disrupting trending a little bit, in my opinion.
No, I know it's made it tough.
And this is just our last thing that we're going to talk about before we like dive right into the trends. But I know you wanted to just cover some of this really briefly.
So I like numbers. I like odd statistics and just fun facts. Okay. You don't want to play Trivial Pursuit with me, okay?
Oh Lord.
Yeah. Anyways, the Wild Apple team does not know I was throwing this in here today. First and foremost, I just want to say how appreciative I am every day that I get to come to work with this team. They are absolutely amazing, and I've just got some numbers to kind of prove it. Okay. 16.3. That is our average tenure of experience here at Wild Apple across the team. There are companies that can't find a single employee who's been there 10 years, and our average is 16.3. Okay. Number two, 29. He's going to hate me after this, but Michael Demuth on December 10th, so coming up in about a month, will hit 29 years with Wild Apple. He started in 1996. Many of you
Right. And some people might not on this call weren't even born.
No, absolutely. A lot of you don't know Michael. He makes the magic behind the scenes happen with our IT
Mhm.
infrastructure and many systems. Yeah, if I made him get on this call and did, like show himself, he probably would run away. That would make it stop at 29 years, I think. Okay. Anyways, that just gives you some breadth on that. 203. Had to do some higher math here. That is the number of total years of experience that we have of our team just working at Wild Apple cumulatively. That is, I'll put that up against any team out there when it comes to the experience, the knowledge, the productivity. Just we've seen it, we've done it, we've been there. Anyways, on top of that, our team is just a group of amazing people. But when it comes to
Agree.
us being a resource as a team, second to none. Okay. 2025 in review, just a couple of quick numbers, 6,500 plus. That is how many new pieces of artwork we brought into our system this last year. Okay.
Incredible.
And when Anita says we cross all sorts, illustrative, painterly, digital, typography, you name it, photography. That's a lot of art coming in. Six
So
and nine.
bravo to our artists
Yeah,
for being able to create that much art, for
yeah,
sure.
absolutely. 6 and 90. We signed 6 new artists this year. We want to continue to make sure we're finding new great artists that fit a need or a niche that we don't have. Okay. 90, we have now reached 90 total artists that we represent. So, last little thing about 2025, and I could even say this about 2024, increased focused. And what that means is increased focused on the people that matter. Okay. Our artists that we work with, the 90 that we represent, okay, and all of our manufacturing partners in the home decor industry that need art. Okay, we want to be able to spend as much time with all of that as possible. I kind of hinted about AI. We use it for the behind the scenes stuff that we don't want to get in
Mhm.
our way so that we can spend time focusing on the people that matter. So those are the systems and upgrades that we've been making. And yeah, Michael, who I embarrassed earlier, is heavily involved with that. So
Mhm.
2026, looking forward, I bet you can guess. I'd like to get to 7,000. Okay. Total acquisitions or new pieces of art in 2026. probably sign 5 to 10 artists. It takes a lot of work on our part because we do a big support, big launch for each new artist that we bring onto the team. I'd love eventually to get to 100. When we get there, we'll send out fireworks. Um, the last thing, growth. I mentioned the people that are important to us, the artists that we represent, and our customers and partners that we work with. We want to help our artists grow. We want to help our partners grow. And that really comes down to everything that our team and the experience brings together. So anyways, just a little bit of a looking back, looking
Mhm.
forward, and talking about the team from kind of the numbers. Anita, I'll
I
turn it
love it.
back over to you because we've wasted enough time. I know people came here to have
We came
trends,
here to talk about the
not
trends,
hear about
Shawn.
me. Yeah. So
Right. So today we're going to get going. We're going to talk about these trends, and we're going to talk about these sort of 6 mass market trends that we're going to see continue through 2026 and 2027 and beyond. Just a heads up, you're going to see maybe some product shots or some images in the trend boards that are not ours. And I want to be really clear again, as we are every time when we're doing these reports, that we take copyright really seriously. We will never take another artist's work and claim it as our own. Like any creative company, we are 100% inspired by fashion, by interior design, trends, magazines, you name it, influencers. We spot things that we spot online or at shows, but we always make sure to put copyright protection first. It's part of the DNA of who we are. And in fact, we're anybody that didn't know, we are founding members of the Art Copyright Coalition. So protecting artist rights is a really, really big deal to us. Not just our artist rights, but all artist rights. So I just want to make sure that's really clear. So let's just get going here. First, I want to talk about analog. And I put this one first because it's one of my favorites and it feels really fresh to me right now. And sort of after years of this sort of sleek minimalism and digital kind of everything, right? People are craving things that they can touch and that they can feel. You know, Shawn, I know you were in the 80s like me because we're not far apart in age. That click of a cassette player, right? The sound of that needle makes when it hits the record player, like on the vinyl, the
yep.
feel of a real book, that pre-tech nostalgia, but with a sort of modern new twist.
Well, I see the
And
phone up there in the top right, and it was how far could you get the phone away from the handset so that you could try and talk privately to your friends
right, they
without
try to get
bothering
it into the bathroom,
them.
right? Close
Yeah,
the door, right? And we're seeing it everywhere from brands like Cezanne to West Elm to Urban Outfitters, IKEA's retro collection, and which are all sort of reimagining vintage designs from their archives. And so we're leaning into warm woods and retro color palettes, 70s inspired forms that feel really sort of familiar but also new. And this is just something I saw coming up in the last little while. And I just wonder how many people have heard of this. So, TikTok influencers in particular are pushing something called an analog bag. Do you know what that is? No? It's to stop doom scrolling, which is like one of the favorite words in this household here. So, people are packing bags with puzzles and knitting, little mini watercolor projects, books, crossword puzzles, activities that get us off our phone. And it's about sort of being more intentional with our digital use and saying like I don't need to be on my phone. I should be doing other things that also help build me as a human, build my creativity or anything and all. I think that's really interesting. Kind of reminds me of like the mom bag I used to carry around when my kid was little with all the sort of activities in it, right? And I think it's brilliant and I'm going to pack one this weekend. So we're bringing back the warmth and imperfection of the past, but we're not recreating it. So the record players, the typewriters, the matchboxes, the Polaroid cameras, they all remind us when life felt personal, but not programmed. And so for manufacturers and retailers, it's a fun look because it's relatable, especially to our generation, but really Gen Z, these youngins coming up are really loving it. It works across wall art, textiles, tabletop, stationery, anywhere that you can bring the sort of retro personality in. And it's storytelling through objects. So it's graphic illustrations. It's pieces that feel familiar and authentic, but sort of fresher colors. Um, so what you'll see here is just like a barrage of things and like board games. Like we're having a board game party this weekend at our house because it's really become a thing where when people get together, we want to sort of sit down and interact. So we're playing cards and board games. It's really fun and all this retro fashion. So when I send this presentation out tomorrow to everybody, this will actually be hyperlinked, and you'll be able to go into this IKEA collection and you'll be able to scroll through it and be able to see the original piece that IKEA brought out, and then now it's coming out again. So when you guys get this presentation tomorrow, scroll through the IKEA collection and sort of look at what they've done there. It's really kind of cool. And then these are just some images from our collection. So we're looking at key icons, right? Cameras, ephemera, matchbooks, rotary phones, books, typewriters, cards, card games, board games,
Yep.
everything there. Book club has become such a huge thing, right? So we've seen this real surge in retailers and manufacturers looking for artwork around books. And that's going to be just keep extending. Okay, so this one is also one of my favorites, Forever Summer. And with the holidays sort of coming, Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving coming, and Christmas just around the corner, it might be like, why are we talking about summertime right now? And we have to look at it this way. So after years of sort of cozy neutrals and muted everything, people are kind of ready for color and optimism and sunshine. The trend expands on that sort of dolce vita. We sort of talked about that last trend session as well, like that sort of Mediterranean summer trend that's out. But it's not just about European summer. So this isn't just about the Amalfi Coast or the Mediterranean. It's about capturing the joy and the warmth of summer and sort of bringing it into our homes all year long. And we're seeing it everywhere from Farm and Rio to Anthropologie to H&M. They're all leaning into like cheerful stripes, gingham, like gingham on the runway, gingham everywhere, gingham skirts, gingham tablecloths. We're seeing fruit motifs, in this sort of like poolside nostalgia, like that, and also that picnic aesthetic, so that top-down look at picnics. So even Dior Maison and Dolce & Gabbana Casa they're playing with sort of Mediterranean-inspired color and pattern as well in their collections. It's really joyful and it's kind of nostalgic, and it feels sort of beautifully uncomplicated. So you're seeing there in sort of the trend board, right? There's like gingham tablecloths, vintage swimsuits, that sort of that lemonade stand yellow, bold striped plates, things that make you smile, cherries, strawberries, and we're seeing sky blue and crisp whites, natural textures. And when we're seeing it integrated into the home, it's things with like woven straw and fabrics and linen, sort of the very sort of sun-soaked vibe. And it's kind of dreamy because I think everybody loves a little bit of summer in their life. And I think when things feel challenging, I think bringing that brightness into the home with kitchen textiles or ceramics or accessories sort of is bringing energy into the everyday. And so when we take a look at our collection, I think these pieces are all great, especially loving like like I said, that sort of top-down picnic look, that we see there in the top left, and in the bottom right, and then anything to do with stripes and vintage. It just creates this really beautiful. I can really see this, in people's, kitchens. I can see it in people's bedrooms. I can sort of see it in little spaces, and especially great on things like notebooks or hand towels, things that are just like little things that you can bring sort of into the house. Okay, so the next one that we're talking about is sort of country garden, and it's really kind of having this moment right now. And when people are craving warmth and comfort, and it's not just in interiors, but sort of in life. And this trend, I think, grew to cottagecore, which we saw, oh gosh, was that 3-4 years ago, sort of emerging, maybe even a little bit longer. But it's less fantasy and it's definitely more traditional while still feeling real, if that makes sense. Probably doesn't make sense, but makes sense in my mind. And we're seeing it everywhere from Reformation in fashion to Laura Ashley, Anthropologie, Zara Home in decor. These designers, lots of designers are sort of leaning into that floral meets vintage countryside vibe. And even Gucci's latest home pieces are covered in botanical prints. I'm actually going to show a little Gucci piece later down the line. So it's feminine, but it's not necessarily frilly. And it's more about authenticity and the art of slowing down. And we talked about that trend in one of our last trend books, that sort of art of slow living. And this sort of really comes down into this, but it's a little bit more, I'm going to say, sort of English garden country living kind of feel. So we're seeing designers are sort of pairing painterly florals with natural textures like stone and linen, aged woods, creating this very sort of grounded, lived-in look. And it's modern. It's not grandma's sitting room, right? We're not talking about like unlimited toile. We're talking about this very sophisticated look. So the color stories are soft and they're calming. They're sort of sage, cream, blush, maybe some faded blues. They're sort of very timeless and familiar. For manufacturers and retailers, it's a gold standard trend because it translates across so many categories. It's not just wall art. We're also seeing it in ceramics and textiles and stationery, kitchenware really strongly. Anything that makes a sort of a space feel personal and welcome, and sort of that idea of like getting back to nature, especially for those of us who, I don't bake my own bread, Shawn. I don't know about you, but like I don't have
I'm
necessarily,
in the same
but
boat with
I love the idea of it.
you.
And we're talking like loose painterly brushwork, garden scenes, still lives, pies, berries. So like when we look at some of the artwork from us, sort of our key icons, right, are cottage houses, rabbits, insects, floral pieces, garden tools. And you can kind of see how these kind of go across a whole bunch of different products. And of course, I don't always show a lot of patterns necessarily when we're doing these trend reports, but all of our collections, our licensing collections in particular, have matching patterns. But we always have patterns that can go, together, mix and match. So with so much artwork, there's always something that, that we can help our customers find. And then again, Zara Home like is digging right into this look. So when you guys again get this link, click on the Zara Home. It'll take you to their homepage where it sort of shows you this whole sort of English countryside thing that they're doing right now, which is really incredible and completely right on trend. Love it. Okay, so this one, New Legacy. And personally, if you ask me, I think traditional looks so cool this way. So I'm an art history major. That was my background. So I always loved traditional art. I love it. And I always thought like, there has to be a way to modernize this. And we've sort of been seeing it come up, right? A little bit by little bit over the last couple of years. It's been evolving, but now we're seeing picking up like sort of additional steam. And so while some of you might have seen this, you're sort of saying, well, this has kind of been out for a while. I'm like, I brought it in because I feel like it's just going to continue growing. So this trend takes everything that we love about classic portraiture in particular and gives it a really modern remix. So I'm not in this trend, I'm not talking about like traditional landscapes that people are really loving. That sort of very painterly, very traditional, masterful landscapes. That is also trending still, but in this one, we're taking to talk about portraiture, but giving it a modern remix. So it's kind of like regal meets rebellious. And so we've got ornate frames generally, rich fabrics, heritage styling, but sort of paired with bold color and graphic twists and a little bit of attitude, sort of a little bit of street smarts in there. It's been bubbling up in fashion and interiors. Designers like Richard Quinn are playing with historical silhouettes and details. And decor brands like the House of Hackney, again, Anthropologie, who I always go back to, Saletti, Versace Home, they're mixing old world motifs with modern color pattern and even just like a little bit of humor. And so, yes, it's not just humans. We're also seeing this happening with animal portraits. So from dogs and pearls to cats and couture, it's a trend that's really kind of classic and playful. It's personality driven with a twist. It's sophisticated, but it doesn't take itself too seriously. Um, and I think designers are pairing this in deep jewel tones, gilded textures, graphic pops, street art references are becoming part of this as well, creating contrast. It makes a room or a product feel sort of elevated and modern, and they become sort of talking points. I have a piece in my home not from us, Shawn, sorry. That's like I'm sorry. That is like a portrait, like a vintage portrait with like graffiti sort of like swiped across the front. And everyone talks about it when they come into my home. So it's become this actual conversation point in our home. So when we look at our collections, again, the key icons are portraits, vintage and retro styling. And so we just put some in there. You can see how the range is extreme, right? So it doesn't necessarily just have to be these sort of vintage portraits that then we're playing with, our artists are playing with by adding in a cat, for example, or sunglasses, but also looking at like original, animal portraiture or things like that, where, our artists are creating things from scratch. And then again, like you see the one there that says, I am the art, like taking that original portraiture and sort of adding that sort of street art or vintage or retro styling on top of it, which I think is just super cool.
No, it is.
And then just to sort of highlight this trend, you can see like in when you're out there looking at trends, I'm just showing you that this particular trend is really, you know, in current publications and current people looking at it, the verdict is in modern heritage, which is what a lot of people is calling this trend, because they're looking at it again from like also including landscapes and florals into it as well. We're just looking at it right now from a portrait example. But old world style is quietly becoming the year's coolest design trend, and I think that's true.
Well, and I think that's a good, to your point, Anita, you're saying trending is becoming a little bit more difficult, and you are going back to the source. It's not that you saw
Yeah.
something just thrown onto Pinterest, but it's that's a core to how we do our trending here.
Yeah, you can't just be on Pinterest and know what's going on. You have to really dig into the shows and into, you know, these influencers that are really talking about these, and the designers, the fashion designers, always looking at what's coming down the runway and seeing how that's going to incorporate into the home later, because we usually see it come down the line. So dark and moody. Uh, I really love this trend. My husband and I are in the process of like really creating very dark and moody spaces within our home, which is not for everyone, I will admit, but I have to tell you, when you do it, it feels so warm and cozy. So we're seeing this trend as marking a sort of a major visual shift towards drama, right? And emotion, sort of depth. And we're seeing these moody color stories with wine reds, incredible greens, that lean more hunter green, which is what I just painted. We're painting our family room, more hunter than a sage. 100% sage green and earthy tones are in 100%. We're talking like moving forward away from that. These are the next things that are coming in. So deep olives, plums, burnt umber. They feel earthy still, but they're romantic and very grounded. And in fashion interiors, brands like Ralph Lauren and Soho Home are kind of embracing these tones, and they're pairing them with like velvet and brass and aged wood to create spaces that feel very luxurious. And it's not really gloomy. Like if you look at this and think, don't think gloomy. You got to think atmosphere, and it's like a balance of warmth and mystery. And in wall decor, this is a really great wall decor trend in particular, but also really great for fabric and patterns and dinnerware. But in wall decor in particular, it really comes to life through dark florals, painterly finishes, really rich abstracts, even metallic accents that are thrown into the production side. So when artwork is created, you know, the manufacturer is making them, adding in that sort of additional finishing with sort of gilding. Shadowy botanicals. Um, they're pieces that kind of have sort of instant sophistication, and it kind of draws you in. It makes your space feel very layered and lived in. It opens the door to stronger storytelling. It's about embracing contrast and blending old world romance with, you know, like with a traditional like still life with the edge of, you know, sort of contemporary design. And so, you know, for our artists, this has been a real chance to explore depth and texture, luminous highlights, shadowy backgrounds, color that's just sort of glowing. So when we look at our artwork, we're looking at the key icons being florals, botanicals, landscapes, abstracts. I love how, you know, we can sort of rework some traditional botanicals by throwing sort of really those really rich, deep colors behind them. We're seeing that return of sort of black backgrounds with florals and botanicals as well. And I think this is really good. In sort of, you and I had touched on this, Shawn, when we were sort of working this week, that even in times when times are tough, when it comes like the economy, we still see that people continue to buy art. And one of the reasons is that when people are sort of sometimes holding on to money because they're uncertain of things, they will still buy artwork. They'll buy a journal. They'll buy a new bedding. They will buy a piece of wall decor, small little luxuries that they can add to the home without renovating. So that's where we see art being really beneficial to our partners, is being able to continue to allow people to have these small luxuries in life, even when things feel a little weird sometimes. And so then this is just a little image of what the print trends and what we're calling Gothic floral. So we've also seen sort of in the past some trends like the whole Gothic. I'm trying to think right now. Oh my gosh, I was just talking about this trend the other day and it's just completely left my mind. Um, you know, sort of like this whole Gothic dark floral thing has been around for a while. And we're sort of really continuing to see it come forward now with fashion, which is great, which just moves us into floral fantasy. And I know what everybody is saying. They're like, have florals ever not been trending? And it's
I was just going to
true.
ask that, but yeah.
Right, and it is true. And we tend to always bring a floral trend in whenever we do these because yes, florals are always there's some things that are always going to work in art licensing, right? Florals, holiday, landscapes. Those three things are all always really, they're all really top trending categories. But what we're talking about now is sort of scale and saturation and confidence. So not in addition to what we saw, sort of with sort of more like the English cottage trend where florals are very pretty, and then we saw with dark and moody, these sort of very moody flowers, we're also talking about florals that are like really big, like really just pulling it all together, going all for it. So we're seeing it across fashion and interiors. It's pushing larger than life blossoms. If you've seen some of the fashion photography going on, we're seeing lots of like oversized florals in fashion photography. We're seeing like large wall murals, embroidered textures, painterly prints. Like Gucci Home, you'll see like Gucci, there's a little plate there from Gucci. They have like a whole sort of like set that's all sort of very floral, very bright base, which is just gorgeous. So we're talking vibrant botanicals and textiles and wallpaper and dinnerware. And we're talking about layering, like people bringing in like all kinds of florals at the same time into a look. And it can go one of two ways, right? It can either go lush or it can go sort of lush and traditional or sort of more abstract and expressive, but it always kind of feels very optimistic. And it can be a single bloom, it can be like an incredible bouquet, but generally we're seeing it as like really oversized or really emphasized in patterns. And the goal is to make sort of florals almost like feel like alive. So it's a surefire best seller as far as I'm concerned for manufacturers because it hits the trend, sort of a whole bunch of trends that we're talking about, but it also hits that timeless factor. So it can work across a whole bunch of product lines and a whole bunch of, sort of age demographics as well. So here's just some artwork, just to give an example. I mean, we have thousands and thousands of floral artworks and patterns across our line.
I want to know how you were able to trim it down to 8.
I don't know. It was hard. I was switching them out this morning, to be honest. So because we have new stuff all the time, I was like, oh, I really should put that piece in. So some of the things you're seeing in this presentation aren't even actually out yet. Wink, wink. They're coming out. So, but again, you'll see like there's everything there. Very sort of abstract, very painterly, very loose bouquets, things in vases, patterns, everything. But imagine just big scale. Again, when we're looking at trending, just wanted to give you guys some references. So one of the things I love with this idea of like calling it bedspread florals, which was just like the most awesome term for me, but that is kind of sort of what it feels like. And again, I love this headline, groundbreaking florals, but for real this time. So, yes, every season we're saying florals, but I'm definitely, like if you look at any of the fashion runway shows that have been happening the last few weeks, last month or so, florals have been just a massive part of that. So then, of course, we can't be at this time of the year. We would be remiss without talking about colors of the year so far. There are so many. I only pulled 3 because there's just, I mean, I don't even know how many there are right now. There's a lot. Maybe we should do our own color of the year, Shawn. What do you think? Can we do it?
We should. Let's
Maybe
jump
we'll
on.
talk about it. Well, Gretchen's going. I can hear Gretchen in the background going, "Oh my gosh, don't let's talk about this." So, but each year, color forecasters give us a snapshot of like the mood shaping design, right? And so this year, these 3 that I've picked, this palette feels really deep and grounded and beautifully human. And I think these colors together tell a story of comfort and of character, confidence. It's a move away from cool minimalism, right? Shifting to something sort of more soulful. And while these palettes set the stage, I want to mention that the biggest day in color is still ahead of us, and
Yep.
that is Pantone's Color of the Year. It comes in early December. Generally, I know which day it's going to come out. It's usually the first or the second Wednesday. It depends on the way the calendar sits. But if you want to know our take on when Pantone comes out with their Color of the Year, make sure you're signed up for our email because we always send out an email same day with our take on Color of the Year, matching artwork, how you can integrate it into your line. And it really does often set the tone for what's next in art, home decor, and design. It really, Pantone in particular, really does.
If you can't tell, Anita gets a little excited. This is a big day
I
for
am
her.
toned
Yeah, I
down.
mean,
It
she's got it
is.
marked down on her calendar and she's watching past
Mhm.
trends so she doesn't
That's
miss
right.
things out.
And then poor Belinda gets dragged into it with me on that day too. So hopefully, B, there's not a lot going on that day for customers, and I can drag you in with me. But we're just going to look at some of these colors just really quickly. So Hidden Gem sort of captures. It's very calm. It's very confident. It's a sort of a very perfect earthy teal. It feels really sort of classic and sophisticated, but it's not cold. It's a nod to nature and creativity and reflection. And there's just some artwork, more recent artwork from us that sort of is really incorporating that color story. The next one is Silhouette. It's more rich, right? It's a smoky brown charcoal, adds sort of a little bit of quiet drama. So if you don't like black, I have black walls, I have black ceilings. But if you like want a little bit of the daring color but don't want to go black, this is a really great color. It's sort of what are they calling the color of evening light and of depth. It's perfect for creating sort of intimate, sort of thoughtful spaces and artwork. And then Warm Mahogany. It's sort of bringing the warmth I think that a lot of us have been craving. It's a return to rich wood tones, handmade materials, interiors that feel sort of very lived in. And I think this color goes really great across sort of all different lines. It's sort of works really well, particularly with that desert trend that we sort of still see really evolving as well. And beautiful in florals. That's a new floral piece that's not officially out yet. So, and I just think that while we all watch these color stories, we can't incorporate everything all the time into everything. So it's a matter of really just staying very um, on top of what's going on and what's going on with interior designers. Because at the end of the day, I would love to see art drive the room, but it's sort of a combination of both. So. And so if you guys all love trends, because we're at the end now, Shawn, we got through all those trends. I wanted to make sure we didn't keep people too long. You can check out our website for more trends. We come out with usually 2 trend pieces per month. We put 2 trends into our lookbook. We have an art licensing blog, and like one particularly looks at art licensing trends, but then we also have our blog where we talk about trends, but we also talk about sort of industry trends as well. So we might talk about like why holiday decor is going a particular way, or what's new in Halloween, or just state of the industry, like how things are going within the industry. So if you want to, really stay on top of what we're doing, do that, but also make sure you sign up for our email newsletter. Just go right to is it the bottom of the page or the top of the page? I can't remember. It's easy to find when you're on the website. You can sign up for our email newsletter. And also, even though we said Pinterest can be a bit of a crazy Wild West, you can follow our trends on Pinterest. There is a 2026, 27 trend board started. You can join that one as we add new trends in throughout the year. Like in the next sort of 12 months, I'll keep filling this one up with additional trends. And then we're going to just see if we have any questions. I know that we did have some chat. I don't know if Gretchen, if you want to unmic, if there's anything in particular, Gretchen, that you saw that we can answer, just let me know.
We've got a lot of chatting going on, so
Oh, okay, good.
if you go over to the little chat, so
I'm looking through.
yeah, there's quite a few questions.
Okay, so I see a question here
And
about fine art, wall art. Do you accept digital fine art? And I don't mean AI, hand paint digital. Yes, yes.
Mhm.
So we were talking about this morning. Gretchen, you and I have talked about this before
Yep.
too, right? That
Yep.
working in Procreate or those programs, 100%.
Photoshop,
But
Procreate,
yeah, that's still a real artist. That is an artist working.
Yeah, Midjourney with AI prompts, no.
yeah,
Not a good no. We
exactly.
don't accept Midjourney. Yeah, absolutely. But yes, 100%. If you're working in Procreate or any sort of digital program doing painterly, fine art, illustrations, whichever, 100%. We love that. I'm going through. Okay, so I have a question here. For artists interested in joining, what art holes are you needing to fill, i.e. maximalist florals, travel maps, sport illustrations? Do you post company job opportunities? So if we had a job in the company, yes, we would post it 100%. So it would be on our website, and we probably would put it on LinkedIn as well. We're very active on LinkedIn. So if you want to follow us on LinkedIn as well, we're really active there. We love LinkedIn. Holes that we need filling. That's a really good question. And I think that sort of comes ebbs and flows. And Gretchen, you can
Yeah,
challenge on
I
this. It
yeah, I
depends on
did
the
a little
season.
note there. So I think that rather than you spending your time, the artist spending their time trying to find the hole, if
Yeah,
they just send us what they feel strongly about
Yeah.
of their work, that would be absolutely fine. Because sometimes you may not see what the hole is, and we may not be able to articulate it because we haven't seen the artwork yet. So
Yeah.
it's
yeah,
better for you
yeah,
not to edit yourself that way.
Yeah.
right.
If you're submitting to us, we limit it to 6 pieces of art that you can upload into our submission page. But we also ask for links to your website, to your Instagram, to your Facebook,
Yep.
and we do dive deeper, and we want to see the whole
Yep.
breadth of work that an artist can bring.
Hmm. And
So don't worry about, trying to fill a niche. We're looking for good art, variety of
mhm.
art, extensive amounts of art from the artists that we look to work with.
And flexibility,
Yeah,
right? Like
flexibility.
most of our artists can create
Yep.
multiple types of stuff, and they're really in the art directors work with our artists, sort of, helping direct,
Yep.
their what's going on. So, Gretchen and all the art directors are just brilliant at that. Brilliant.
I think also I just wanted to say that oftentimes when we have an artist that we're kind of interested in, we will check all of their social media. We will go to look at their websites. We'll go to look at their Instagram because sometimes there's something down in there that we didn't see in the selection you sent us, and we go, "Oh my God, that's it."
Yeah.
So
And it's more about, yeah, the like either their style and their ability
mhm.
and their right. That's what we're looking for
Yep.
in general. Yeah.
Yep.
So we have another question. How many submissions do you get from new artists per year? Well, that depends. When we do a call out, we can get 400 plus
Oh
submissions in a
yeah.
couple weeks.
Yep.
When we don't do call outs, we're probably looking at, it can get upwards of, 50 plus per month. I mean, there's usually some coming in every single day.
Oh yeah.
But
Definitely.
when we do a call out, that number
Hmm.
increases dramatically.
Mhm.
So I would say, we're probably doing at least, 600 plus submissions we get a year. Shawn, would that be about accurate?
I think that would be accurate. And I
Yep.
guess I would say to any artists that are interested, even if you submit once, don't feel like you can't submit again. Art changes, people's styles evolve and mature, new interests pop up. And something that I feel very strongly about, and I will say there are art licensing agents out there that will basically sign every artist that they come across in hopes that they find the one in the, kind of in the rough that ends up doing really well. Our goal when we sign artists is we want to know that there's going to be a demand from the partners that we work with, the home decor manufacturers. We don't want to sign an artist and then find out it just didn't work. I mean, that's, or we just signed on a whim and no one was interested. We
Mhm.
don't hit and bat, 1,000. We don't get them all right, but our goal is to be very selective and to make sure that if we do sign an artist, that the artist is just as thrilled as we are with the actual outcomes to being working with Wild Apple. So,
Mhm.
and not just the idea that I got signed by Wild Apple. So we want everyone to be happy and to feel satisfied coming out of it. So
Mm-hmm.
I
and
have to
I
say
will
that we
say,
have a, sorry.
we as an entire team, everyone looks at the art. And yes, we
Mhm.
do dive deep if we see something that catches our eye. And yeah, her name's Mary. She's really good
She,
yeah,
she'll find it.
she'll find whatever you might
Yeah.
have even
Yeah.
forgotten you did. So
We have another artist question that is, how does it work after you sign an artist? Is there a trial period to see if there is any interest around the specific artist's work?
I'll
There's
jump
not
in.
really a trial period. We sort of, before we sign an artist, we kind of know
Hmm.
that there's going to be interest from our customers.
Yeah, we work very closely with our the home decor manufacturers, our partners, our customers. And so we have a pretty good feel for what they're looking for. Um, you know, so our our trial period is us as a team deciding we're going to move forward with this. Okay.
Hmm.
And we're going to trust there are 200 plus years of experience that we maybe can spot this combined with working on what trends are coming our way. And ooh, this would, like dark and moody. Oh, do we need more of that? And so
Hmm.
we're
Mm-hmm.
always looking, we're not looking to get 2 artists that do exactly the same thing. We're looking to
Mm-hmm.
find artists that can all live together and that we can all equally represent.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. We have another question is, do you ever do a trend talk that is focused as holiday trends? And why, yes, we
do.
are going to be doing that. So Gretchen and I were just talking about this yesterday,
Uh-huh.
that we're going to do a trend. We're going to do, well, it's going to, I don't want to give it away, Gretchen.
No,
We're
it's going to be,
we're going to try to do something a little different
it'll be
in
exciting.
January, February. So yes,
Yep.
look for a specifically holiday
Mhm.
trend report. And so we're talking holiday being Christmas, harvest, so harvest, Halloween, and also spring trends, right? So a little bit of
Yep,
spring
those are the
trends, but
strongest.
really
Mhm.
majorly focused on Christmas and fall and harvest and Halloween. But also we'll bring in some summer and some spring trends in there as well.
Mhm.
Because yes, we know that's really important, especially to our customers.
Mhm.
I'm just keeping going through all the questions here. Oh, and someone's asked if an artist has submitted, has not been contacted, how long should we wait to try again? That's a really difficult question. I mean, my gut says, 6 months. If, just if you've done something really interesting or new that's different than what you were doing, or
Mhm.
you feel like your style has changed or something, I would submit again. And
Yep.
we've had artists that have submitted multiple times before they've been signed. So
Yep.
it does happen that way.
Yep. Just
And you don't have to have a certain number. Someone has to have a certain number of followers to be considered. Nope.
no.
Great art is great art. You could have 100 followers, or you could have 150,000 followers. And we know that social media is a hard thing for artists to be doing. Often a lot of artists are artists and they also have full-time jobs. And so to try to build everything at the same time, we know how challenging that is. So we just really love artists at the end of the day.
Yep.
Mhm.
Anita, here's another great question. In general, how far in advance are your partners working? Like Christmas now or in February?
Mm.
That's a
Wait,
Gretchen question.
that is a Gretchen question.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Most of our customers work a year or 18 months ahead of when it's going to be released.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get like instant gratification from the product licensing side of our business. That's going to be more of a long-term thing. So you have to be patient, and you have to understand that it may be a long haul. And it's sometimes hard if a customer takes the artwork and says they're going to sample it, and then it falls through. It's hard, but that's part of this business, and really you have to be comfortable with that because it's going to happen. Once it goes out into the world, remember that even if they develop it now, it's not for the Christmas of 2026. It'll be for Christmas of 2027, probably.
Yeah.
Right.
And we talk very easily about that. Oh, it's not for Christmas 2026. We're everyone's right now personally worried about Christmas 2025 and what we're going to
Yep.
do with family. Like
Right.
we're kind of already almost done and dusted with Christmas 2026
Yes,
with
we
our
are.
partners.
Mhm.
Many of them are beginning to look at 2027 at this point.
Yep. Yep.
Right. But would you guys say wall decors can be a little bit different?
Yes,
Right.
both can be
Because
quicker. Mhm.
yeah, especially when we're talking like on-demand partners,
Mhm.
like some of our large website partners, online web, or
Yep.
I can't, what am I saying? I don't, you know what I'm saying.
E-commerce partners.
E-commerce partners. Thank you, Gretchen. They could pick up a Christmas piece in October, right?
Yep.
And
They can
be
have it
selling
framed
it.
in somewhere. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So, print on demand, print on those print on demand partners, it really does change sort of the
Mhm.
timelines because things can happen much more quickly. We'll all remember when
Mhm.
when we all started working in art licensing and publishing, some of us for a long time on this call, we stocked paper, right? So you
Sure.
were creating
Mhm.
prints that then had to be shipped out to manufacturers who then created artwork and shipped it and sent it off to retail. And so with the advent of e-commerce partners, that wall decor can move a little bit more sort of with a little bit more
Nimbly.
ease.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mhm.
So let me just keep going through here. You guys, if you guys see any other questions, let me know.
Anita, one of the other one people are asking for is for the last set of slides from
Yeah.
the last trend. So I think
Oh, like the
it's up on our
last webinar?
website.
Yeah.
Right
Yeah.
now.
The trend
It's on
number
the
one.
website.
And then this one. Yeah.
Yeah. So what we'll do is after we're over here, I'm going to be taking all this information. I'm going to be putting it into a video, be uploading it to YouTube. We're going to send out an email to everyone tomorrow that gives you a link to the slides, a link to the video, And we'll also include the last webinar that we did as well, reference that, and a little note just to sort of keep in mind to keep an eye out for our January, February holiday trend extravaganza that we're going to be doing.
Wow.
Which Belinda, you hadn't known about. Belinda hadn't known about that yet. So surprise.
That was a new conversation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do hope we put extravaganza in the title, because
I think we should.
Yeah,
definitely. I think we should.
Definitely.
I think we got through all the questions. I think there was maybe a couple of questions about contracts when you sign an artist, and I just want to reply to that one really quickly. Yeah, you're under contract, but not like how you might think. So it's not like you can't do other things. You are under contract for the art that you submit to us, right? But I also want to point out that all artists maintain their own copyright. We do not hold your copyright. You maintain your copyright. So I think that's really important to point out as well.
Yep.
Is there anything else? We think we've got it. I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you, Shawn. Thank you, Gretchen. Thank you, Belinda. Thank you, all my co-hosts here this morning for hopping online. Thank you, everybody that joined with us. Really appreciate everyone joining online. Every time we do these, we get more people sort of coming on board. I think this time we had almost 300 people registered, which was great. So we just want to keep bringing these out. If there's anything that you guys want to see from us, whether you're a customer, if there's something as a customer you want to see us doing and presenting, as an artist, if there's something you want to see us presenting, anything, any ideas that you have, shoot us an email to like sales@wildapple.com. And like we want to hear what you guys want to see from us as well.
Yep.
And also follow us on Instagram or LinkedIn or any of those channels. We'd love to see you there as well.
Yep, absolutely. And thank you so much, Anita. Anita pours her heart into this.
Oh yeah.
A little teasing is that if you can't tell how much she loves trending, is she started every trend with "This is my favorite. I really love this one."
Did I? It's true.
But
it's true. I only put things I love in here. It's true.
Yeah. So anyways, thank you so much, Anita. I know you live and breathe this, and it shows. So thank you.
My poor husband. Never satisfied. He's always like, another thing.
Yeah, he just saw all of his home projects that you're gonna have on his to-do list here shortly.
Yes. Our shared Pinterest board. Yeah, crazy. Poor guy. All right, everybody. Well, thanks everybody for coming. Look for an email from us tomorrow, and then reach out if you ever want to, sort of talk to the marketing department too. You can sort of DM us through Instagram. Is great a way of touching base with the marketing department.
Great. Thank you everyone for joining.
All right.
And
thanks everyone.